you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
And welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Pauline, and today I kind of wanted to have more of a fun episode. And I think you can kind of tell by the title of this episode, Fake Air and Fake Skin, that it's going to be kind of like a weird one. There's some things some researchers have been developing and coming up with to change our lives that are kind of weird. But I wanted to start this episode first by, I guess, sharing some benefits of something that I use practically every day. I'm not going to say every single day because there are some days where I come home and I forget, or I come home and usually I either forget or I don't remember until I'm already like snuggled in bed and I'm like, whatever. And then I realize it's been 2 or 3 days. Now, but that doesn't mean I try to be as consistent as possible. And I think this is something that I'm definitely more consistent with consuming when I see it. Now, I'm the type of person, and it kind of bothers people that have to share space with me. Like when I was living in the dorm and living with, one of my roommates, and we had to share a bathroom. I know that this kind of irked her. And so I try to make it as clean as possible and, kind of just keep things in my room and not necessarily on the bathroom counter. But if I don't see something, I forget to use it. I forget to consume it. I forget that it even exists. And like that's with anything, like with lotion, when I get, I like to bleach my teeth. And if I don't see like the little tray that holds, or like the, the little container, it's kind of like a retainer container that I keep the little mouth tray, the teeth trays inside. If I don't see it, I forget. And I'll go weeks like without whitening my teeth because I don't see it. I forget it. Out of sight, out of mind type of thing with me with a lot of things. And that's why like I have this work bag that I take with me literally everywhere. And it's really ugly. It's not cute at all. It's really not. I got it through one of my jobs and it's clear. It's like clear plastic. It's really ugly, but it's huge. And it fits like all my paperwork, all my folders, all like if it's lotion, like I have like the little lotions, I have like 4 different chapsticks and lip glosses in there. I have a makeup bag in there, but I lug all of this stuff around because if I don't see it, I forget. And I even sometimes come to work a little bit ashy because I forget to put lotion on. Then I'm like, hey, no big deal. It's in my makeup bag. I can just put some on. But anyway, so one, I don't know if it's really considered a vitamin. It's a spice. So it's not really considered a vitamin, perhaps a supplement, if you will, but it's turmeric. Now, turmeric, I just discovered as far as consuming it as a supplement and not just mixed in with curry and things like that. Most recently, and if you listen to especially like the previous episode, but some other episodes I think I've shared, I have had quite a few surgeries in these last few years. But I most recently discovered the benefits of turmeric during my recovery through my foot surgeries. Now, so my mom actually is the one who introduced turmeric to me because she was doing a lot of research and she was learning. Now in my family, we do a mix of both. We do a mix of like natural remedies as well as Western medicine. And I honestly, it's because I have my Asian background. And so there's different herbs and teas and things that we eat, or different fruits and vegetables that I purposely eat and consume as regularly as possible, and different things that I drink as regularly as possible, because I believe that we can find a lot of not just remedies, but a lot of aid in our world, like naturally. But then I also do, because I thankfully live in the United States and have great access to wonderful medicine and to amazing doctors, that I also take the medicine that I'm prescribed for the amount of time that I'm prescribed for the ailments on which they are prescribed for. But my mom and I also believe that, I try not to take too much pain medicine. Even when I was, after my foot surgeries, I think I was only on pain medicine for like 3 or 4 days. Now, again, whatever you have to do and whatever it is that your doctor has told you to do in order to aid with your pain or to aid for your specific ailment, follow to the T. Whatever you and your doctor and whatever advice your doctor, your dietitians, whoever these people who your physician has, whatever the advice they've given you and whatever your dosage, your pharmacist has told you to consume, stay with your regimen and do what you are prescribed. And a lot of times consistency is key when it comes to both medicine, whether it's natural or prescribed Western medicine. But anyway, so one thing, but with the foot surgery and with the pain medicine, my doctor did tell me I can wean myself off of it as early as I felt that I would be able to withstand the pain. Now, one thing when I was in my cast is that I had to deal a lot with swelling, and I still do. It's been a year since my first foot surgery, and in December, because I had them back to back, one in August and one in December. So December will be the year mark for both my surgeries. Now, I still deal with a lot of swelling in my feet. It can be even after I wake up, my feet are a little bit swollen. It could be after eating salty foods. I feel that my feet are swollen, and they don't hurt. They're just swollen. And it could be just because I've had a long day at work from a lot of driving, a lot of walking, whatever it may be. So turmeric is actually something that I consume, and I do notice a difference when I consume turmeric to help with my inflammation. Now, there's a lot of benefits to turmeric. It's been said to have the ability to help improve and lower your risk for heart disease. It's supposed to be a really good antioxidant, as well as to help with your digestive system. But I personally have been consuming turmeric with the sole purpose of helping me with my inflammation. Now, the way that I consume turmeric now, they have like turmeric pills that you could consume. You can consume turmeric in your food, adding it to different recipes. You can put it in even different like drinks, like warm milk. I know that some people consume it that way. Now, I go to the nitty gritty. This is how I consume my turmeric. Now, it works for me. I deal with it only because I have seen the benefits and I can see the difference within myself and within the swelling that I have in my ankles and in my feet when I consume turmeric is, okay, so I take a cup of water, and at first I would do like a tall glass of water, but now I kind of like, which I mean, it may make it worse because it's more concentrated, but I take a small glass of water, and typically I like it to be cold water. I don't really like it warm, or room temperature. I have it cold water straight out of the refrigerator, and I mix in a tablespoon of like a heaping tablespoon of just pure turmeric. Now, we actually went and bought our turmeric from the Indian store. And so my mom, she tutors after school this little Indian boy. He's really cute, and their family is so good to my mom. She loves them, and rightfully so. She gets along with basically everyone. And so she asked them, she was like, I want raw turmeric. I need it, and I want it to help, with Pauline, with me, and just for all of us to kind of consume on a regular basis. And they're like, sure, no problem. So they got us the ground turmeric, and it's really a fine powder. However, it's kind of like cinnamon. When you put cinnamon in like a cup of water or something like that, or like in a wet agent, so like water or milk or whatever, it doesn't absorb it. It's not soluble. It kind of just like sits and rests on top. So even when you mix it, so now mind you, turmeric stains. It stains your hands a little bit. It will stain your clothes. It can even stain certain surfaces. So be very, very careful. I always like mix it over the sink and everything when I'm doing this. And I usually mix it with like a fork or something, because you really got to mix it into the water for it to kind of like absorb some of that water a little bit, as if you will. And then it becomes kind of like this yellowish, almost, it kind of looks like if you were to it kind of looks mustardy. It looks really mustardy because, you know, if you don't know what turmeric looks like, it's kind of like like the powder, it's kind of like a orangish yellow mustard color, really. And so it just looks like a full cup of mustard. And I just tank it down. I kind of do it like a shot, you know. And then what I also do is have nearby a small spoon of, you know, kind of like those little sugar spoons that you use for tea and things like that, of honey, of all natural honey. And I tank down my little shot of turmeric water, and I always make an ugly face because it just, you can't really prepare for it this way. At least for me, I don't really care for the taste. So then I hurry up, stick the spoonful of honey in my mouth, and that kind of helps alleviate some of the suffering in consuming turmeric. But I mean, like I said, you can do turmeric pills. You can mix it in different tea. I guess people do it also in warm milk. You can mix it in yogurt or different, you know, sprinkle it, perhaps mix it inside with a salad dressing if you are somebody that likes to experiment with salad dressings and you make your own at home or whatever. There's different ways to consume it. But for me, it's just like straightforward. I do it usually right before I go to sleep. So then in the morning I wake up and my feet, they're not swollen. They feel great. I definitely notice a difference in my feet when I consume turmeric, especially on a day-to-day basis. And for me, it's overnight. It truly is. Some of you may have tried turmeric and maybe your results aren't as drastic and as quick. And now mind you, like, my inflammation is just something that I'm going to have to deal with, and that I was told I was going to have to deal with for at least a minimum of a year post surgery. So I've been knowing that I'm going to have to deal with some inflammation in my feet for a while. And I know that it's going to last kind of like a while, but this has helped aid with that swelling. And so like when I put my boots on and I tie up my shoes, I'm able to still slip my foot in the boot and it's not too swollen. Because there have been times when my foot has been so swollen that I feel like I can't even put shoes on. And so it does help. It's not necessarily the nicest and easiest way to tank down turmeric, but hey, I think that having turmeric in its most natural form as natural as in a way that I can obtain it is the best for me. Now, turmeric pills, you know, may be easier for some of you, or you may be able to just tank down a shot of turmeric and it's really not that big of a deal. But that is something. Turmeric is a spice that I do recommend that you discussing with your dietitian, discussing with your physician, and trying, because it is something that I have noticed a difference for myself. And like I said, there's lots of other benefits to turmeric. And when you cook with turmeric, it tastes really good. I love curry and things like that. So, and you can buy it at your local Indian store. Like, I know that they have the spices, because then you can get like huge packs of it, you know, because it's made in curry and like they use it in curry. So that is a store that you could go and get. Like I got a huge gallon jars worth of powdered turmeric. So I'm going to be using that for a while. And so especially if you want to consume it for a long time and in huge quantities, that's something that I really do recommend you checking out. But we are going to cut it to a quick break. And when we come back, I want to discuss fake skin and why it's actually going to be beneficial to our health and wellness. So keep it locked here. You are listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast. I will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch, whatever it may be.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Pauline. Now, for the first opening of the episode, I shared with you a spice that I absolutely love, but hate to love, because I hate the taste of it, but I love the effects of it. And sometimes that's what happens when we consume natural remedies. Like, not all of it tastes good. You know, there's certain teas that we consume. I know I personally love tea, and I love the warmth of tea. Honestly, I even love bitter teas and teas that don't really have a taste, but I just love them because I think I love the warmth that teas bring. And you know, some teas just don't taste that good. Not all of them are sweet teas. There's some teas that just don't taste good. But, you know, we love and enjoy the health benefits that we receive from different spices, different herbs, different roots that are natural and things that can help aid. I don't ever think that you should ever do anything without the conjunction and consult of your doctor, but there are some things that may help in everyday life that you can just consume on your own, and you can get from your local grocery store. You can get it from the farmer's market. You can even get some of this stuff, you know, over the counter. I don't know. There's so many things that you can do, not necessarily in absence of synthetic drugs and synthetic medications, but in conjunction or before you get to that step. You know what I mean? And trying to help yourself, just making yourself stronger and making yourself healthier without adding. Because I know that there are a lot of people out there who don't believe in taking Western medicine or don't believe in synthetic drugs and believe that you can be healed naturally through natural remedies. And that's fine too. And if for you, and for what it is that you are treating, and with, again, the aid of your doctor, you know, everybody has something different that works for them. And as long as you're trying to lead your healthiest and most well lifestyle, I believe in you, and I hope that it does work out for you. And there are times, again, like, because we even learned when we had special guest Sharon on the show a couple episodes ago, that simple exercises that we do can prevent future ailments, that exercises that we do now, because I honestly do believe in prevention rather than response, you know, preventing things from happening or breaking down or becoming weak so that we don't have to respond later to problems that arise because our body is weak or our body is sore or swollen or we have clogged arteries or just different things, you know, that can affect us later on due to the choices that we make now. And if eating a lot of fruits and vegetables is your way to combat that, from whether you eat to take care of anxiety, you eat to take care of stress, I honestly believe that when I eat a lot of junk food, I break out a lot. Now, and I don't necessarily break out a lot all over my face, but I break out, like on my chest area and on my back. And I think it has a lot to do with what I consume and my lack of water. If I'm going through like a phase where I'm just not being on top of how much water that I consume, I notice it. And I notice how dehydrated that I get throughout the day. And so there are things that we can do every day, whether it's what we eat or what we drink or what we don't eat and what we don't drink, and how active we are, and little things that we do that can affect our future selves and perhaps even stop us from having to suffer from certain things. Now, with that being said, air is probably something that all of us take for granted. Now, if you live in California, where I live out here in Sacramento. So if you live out here in California, and depending on where you live in California, if you live up in the more wooded areas of California. Now, California is a beautiful state. This is kind of like a little bit of a tangent, but we have the woods, we have the beach, we have cities, we have mountains. We got a little bit of everything. Whatever you want and whatever lifestyle that you like, you can definitely find it in California. But anyway, so depending on where you live in California, whether it's a huge major city like LA, or if you live in the wooded areas where there's a chance of forest fires, we are always aware of our air quality and the air pollution. And depending on where you live throughout the world, air pollution may or may not be a major concern for you. Now, there are some areas in the world where we are like, okay, they have an air pollution problem, because it could just be due to the industries that have corporations and factories there. It could be to all the cars. It could be to the lack of just airflow in general, because not a lot of places, there are some places that are like basins, where there's like mountains perhaps on either side of the city, town, or area. And so air kind of gets trapped in there. There's not a lot of direct airflow. Maybe they're not. There's a lot of factors that play into air pollution. And like I said, there could be like a forest fire. There could be just a volcanic eruption. There's things that happen that affect our air pollution, whether it's man-made or natural. So with that being said, again, there is a company in Canada, so they're based in Canada, and they actually sell bottled air from the Rocky Mountains. So the company is called Vitality Air, and it's basically air in a can. And the can that I have found that represents this like brand, and one of the pictures that I came across, it basically looks like a paint spray can that you like, an aerosol can, but attached to the nozzle, instead of just spraying out to like create graffiti or whatever it is that you're painting, there's like this nozzle, and it has like a built-in mask. So it's kind of like an air mask that you would see if you ever had to do like breathing treatments when you're younger, like if you had asthma or something like that. And so it kind of like covers your face, like your nose and mouth area. And so you kind of like spray it this fresh air, and you can inhale it directly. Yeah, it sounds kind of funny, but they sold out and did very, very well in China. And so now this company is looking to expand into India. And now they were saying that India, and it's 8-liter bottles of air. So, and like they sell them. They actually sold out when they first went ahead for that launch in China, and now they're looking to expand into India. Now, mind you, India has 13 of the world's 20 most polluted cities. Now, I'm not talking about populated cities. Yes, now India and China, and there's lots of countries around the world that have a lot of people, but these are 13 of the world's 20 most polluted cities, according to the World Health Organization. So it kind of makes sense why the Vitality Air Company is kind of looking into India as its next venture, because this is something that could possibly make sense. There is also another place that recently started selling fresh air, an Australian company, to China as well. So, I mean, it clearly is making sense, and people are profiting from this. But then, according to Vitality Air, I quote, it says, "The residents of India and China love imported goods, and that's exactly what we provide. Many wealthier customers prefer imported water, baby powder, wine, and the air you breathe shouldn't be any different." So I guess it kind of makes sense in that way when you look at it, as it's like imported, so it's exquisite, it's a luxury, it's different. Not everybody can get their hands on Rocky Mountain air, which is true. I mean, it's definitely true, but I don't know. You could definitely hit me up on Twitter or on Facebook and give me your point of view. But then I guess it doesn't make sense to me, because I'm sitting here in California and I don't really have to deal with air pollution unless we are dealing with like, a wildfire or something like that. But, and I've never been to China, and I've never been to India, so I've never experienced that. But I do know from people that have traveled there that they do oftentimes complain about the air quality over there. So I guess it makes sense. So according to the article that I read, the product cost about $32, but they haven't really decided how much they are going to sell it for, like the price in India yet. And they're going to just start off with like a small, like they're testing it out. They're going to just provide 200 bottles of the air and just see how quickly that those sell out and see if it's worth it to actually expanding their market to India. So that is that on my fake air segment. And then when we come back from this quick break, I wanted to talk about fake skin and the benefits of fake skin. So we will be right back. You are listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now. Don't bother. What's hot on Netflix and everything in between. That's gsmcpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back. So we are getting ready to wrap up this episode. I am your host, Pauline. And if you didn't know, now you know. I'm not sure how you couldn't know, but you are listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast. And I had one more fun and wacky. I don't know if it's wacky. I mean, okay, actually, this one's not wacky. This one makes a lot of sense to me. And it's basically invisible skin. So it's not really fake skin. It's actually invisible skin, and it's a polymer that they have developed that is kind of like, and it's elastic. So, it's able to like move with you. So it's not just stiff on your skin. It's not going to crack. It's going to like move and adapt with you, with your body part. And scientists and researchers are developing this, and I actually think it's going to be a really cool thing because one, it can be used for both medical and cosmetic concerns. So the cool thing about the medical side is that this is something that they can use for surgeries, depending on what your surgery will entail, depending on how invasive or non-invasive that it is. It can help with that healing process, as well as for burn victims, which I thought was really, really cool because, as you know, depending on the degree and the severity of the burn, you can lose your skin and lose that entire, that surface area there. And so this kind of acts as like a protector. It's like fake skin. And it's like a replacement skin that you can have and use to protect your inner organs and things like that. And it just takes place of the skin that you may have lost due to a burn or whatever reason that, you are in need of this fake skin. But the other kind of cool thing about it is that, like I said, you can use it for cosmetic concerns as well. So you can use it to hide wrinkles and to take, to kind of fill in those areas. So for some people, that might be another concern that they want to address and kind of make everything look a little bit more tight. So right now, there are some different variations. Now, I remember growing up, and I believe that they still have this. I think you can get it like at Walmart. I just thought it was so cool when I was young. I was playing basketball and everything, and I think I must have like gotten a blister or something. I forget what injury I had accrued, but my dad got me new skin. I think I had a blister on my ankle or like on my Achilles tendon or something. So it was like an area where I couldn't really put a Band-Aid on, but I really needed to keep it covered up and like closed because I was doing like a lot of sweating and activities of being a kid, and it's called like new skin. That's what I'm kind of thinking of, but I guess a more durable compound and a compound that can be more long lasting and actually resemble more of skin. Cause like new skin is kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. Cause back when I was using it, it was kind of like you brushed it on and it kind of just like glue. Like when you put glue on your hand, except for it didn't really like, it was kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It was like liquid skin. It was liquid skin. It was liquid sealant. Like you could just close up that wound so it wouldn't be open and exposed. And like you can, it was more sanitary and just better hygiene so that, you know, you save yourself from getting infection and just dirt and debris inside like a major cut or wound or whatever. And I just thought it was so cool at that time. So I think this is kind of like the evolution of that idea of a clear compound that you can use to cover up certain areas and wounds and to help against infection and debris and dirt. And especially if you're a burn victim, I can't imagine what they are going to come up and develop as this idea evolves to make it out and open to the public so that we can use it and help better lives for everyone. And yeah, the cosmetic side is actually pretty cool. And if you look online, you can see the difference. Like they have an example of a person who's, you know, the puffiness under the eye is basically eliminated due to the skin and this compound, you know, making it a little bit more tight and filling in that puffiness and those wrinkles. So that's actually kind of nice. Like, you know, I get the vanity side of it, but I just think it's going to be amazing and what a life changer it's going to be for our veterans or for people who are victims of different situations and different problems that happen. And whether you're like in a car accident or maybe you are stuck and you're burned, you know, for whatever reason, something catches on fire or something, like there's an accident that occurs and you're caught on fire and you lose and that can be a devastating thing. And so I just think it's going to be a really cool aid for us, and it's going to help us cure a lot of skin problems, or even talking about using it with psoriasis and things like that, because that again can be an open wound, other open wounds due to skin diseases, and how it may actually change the lives for a lot of us and our loved ones. So I'm really, really excited for that one. And I'm excited to see when it comes out and how it's going to hit the market. I don't know. I guess there is a type of product that is very similar to this that retails for about $500 right now on the market. And that is, I don't know. I don't know if that's expensive or not, because I guess if you really, I don't know. I'm just hoping that it can be covered by a lot of people's insurance, especially if you need it for a skin disease, or if you are a victim, like a burn victim, and you have some burn scars and things like that. I just think it's going to be a really, really cool thing for us. So that's actually going to do it this episode of the Health and Wellness Podcast. You can listen to this episode as well as previous and future episodes on our network website. That is gsmcpodcast.com, as well as on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. I am your host, Pauline. And like always, I will see you next time and have some more things to share with you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.